Hi, I'm Emil, founder and CEO of Tomorrow Biostasis. Today, I would like to introduce you and announce the launch of a new online magazine, online newspaper, journal, and so on for the topic of cryopreservation and biostasis. We will launch it in the next day, on July 1st, in fact, and it will be called Tomorrow Insight. You will find it on July 1st on tomorrow.bio/insight and also linked from our main page, tomorrowbiostasis.com. The idea for this journal or magazine, it's kind of a mix of both, is that so far there was there's multiple news and magazine and article sources for the topic of cryopreservation or biostasis. But there isn't really a comprehensive, all-encompassing, source where you can, once a week, once a month, once a day, click into and see what's new in the field. So since this didn't exist, we always were looking for one before starting the organization. And then also our members are looking for one. And once in a while we get inbound emails for people asking us, where can I find some background information about the topic? Where can I read about it? And so on and so on. And well, since it didn't exist, we decided to build it ourselves. The plan would be that it will include a lot of information, different types of information, and it will be almost independent from us. Of course, initially we will, or our employees, our writers, our copywriters, our researchers will contribute a large amount of the articles and news and whatever else will be on it. But the plan in the mid to long term is to have it as a fully independent source, or 99% independent source, not only covering topics about us, but also covering, for example, events and news from other organizations that either exist today or might exist in the future. So we will invite guest authors to write articles about it and so on. We will then do the editing of it, right? But anybody who wants to can contribute to the news source. So I call it a couple of times a journal or a magazine or an online newspaper. So it's kind of a combination of all of these things. So it will include a range of different content pieces. So the articles that we've been doing, those will of course stay on the page. Some of which are relatively introductory pieces for people who have not been involved in the space for too long and just want to get their first bearings. Others have gone already a bit deeper and might also be interesting to people who have been involved for the field for a bit longer and know more about it. So with the new content pieces, the new content types that we're going to add, we're going to be on both sides of that. On one hand, there's going to be relatively short announcement, news, events announcements, and similar things. And then on the more complex side, we plan to really publish in-depth analysis on certain topics, write-ups for people who really want to dig deep and really want to understand a topic in much more depth. They might not rise to the level of scientific scrutiny or complexity of a paper that would be published in a scientific journal, but aspirationally we want to go into that direction. And those might be published by us, or they might also be published by guest authors. Now, articles, news, and more in-depth pieces would probably make up the bulk of Tomorrow Insight. But we plan to add a good amount of other content as well. So there will be a section for videos. As you might have seen, we do a lot of videos on YouTube to explain the topic, explain certain parts and certain questions that we hear often. So there will be, a video section. And then we will go even a bit deeper for, local organizations who would like to start, who would like to build a local standby team. We will publish protocols and manuals, and not purely about the scientific questions about that and the medical questions, but also about the logistical questions, about the legal questions, how to set it up and so on. Because as you might know, we're very much focused on building local teams, supporting local teams, and improving standby and SST in Europe, and then soon also abroad from Europe. So that is the idea. a comprehensive, article source, news source, online magazine that will cover all these topics that I just briefly touched onto. So last but not least, I would like to invite everybody to check out tomorrow.bio/insight, which will launch on July 1st, in a couple of days. Give us feedback, ask questions, and interact with us. We're more than happy to continue to build this source together with the community and together with you. And of course, if anybody is really interested and to really dig deep and wants to publish something as a guest author, after a relatively stringent editorial process, we're more than happy to have you on board for that as well. So, see you soon on tomorrow.bio/insight.